Islam and the Discoveries of Modern Science Part 2. Islam and its call to the belief in and elevation of the status of the prophets and messengers of Allah. Indeed, Islam came inviting to the belief in all the prophets and messengers of Allah, exalted, and the elevation of their significance and status. Since they are the ones Allah chose to convey the orders, prohibitions, laws and directions which He revealed to them to His creation and slaves. At a time wherein we find the Jews denying the prophecy of Jesus Christ the son of Maryam, peace be upon him, uttering abominations regarding him, wherein the Jews claimed that Christ was born out of wedlock, Islam came to exonerate him from such abominable speech and to elevate his significance and status, telling that he is a noble prophet, sent from Allah, exalted, and that he, peace be upon him, is from the messengers of firm will and determination. And at a time wherein we find the Jews and the Christians attributing to many of the prophets and messengers of Allah that which vilifies them and diminishes their significance and status. In spite of the fact that they acknowledge them as prophets and messengers, we find that Islam is the only religion that exonerates them from those vilifications. In fact, elevating their significance and status, as they are the ones Allah, glorified, and exalted, chose to convey from Him, and that mankind would emulate, being excellent examples and role models for them. Some examples of what we alluded to. The Jews and Christians ascribed to Allah's prophet Aaron, peace be upon him, the worship of the calf, an idol fashioned into a calf. And they ascribe to Allah's prophet Lot, peace be upon him, drinking wine. Not only that, but they ascribe to him adultery with his daughter. One of the most abominable forms of adultery, since it involves adultery with female family members, and many more examples of prophets and messengers of Allah, exalted, who did not deserve the Christians and Jews' lies against them. Both the Jews and the Christians ascribe disbelief and major sins to the prophets and messengers of Allah, exalted. That which destroys their significance, detracts from their status, and doesn't hold them to be examples and role models to emulate. Rather, it is insulting to God the Creator, high and exalted, because in that case He was unable to select the best ones for His revelation, conveying His message, and who would be followed and emulated. However, we find that Islam is the one which came to exonerate all the prophets and messengers of Allah, exalted, from those abominable acts of disbelief and polytheism. Rather, to render them the best of examples and role models to be followed and emulated. Likewise, to free God the Creator, glorified, and exalted, from human-like traits, which ascribes fault to Him by His unfavorable selection of His prophets and messengers, and that He, high, and exalted, possesses all characteristics of beauty and perfection, from the making the most excellent selection for His prophets and messengers. That is why Islam is that which called to the belief in all of Allah's prophets and messengers, and the elevation of their significance and status. Islam and its call to knowledge. Islam came to bring mankind out of darkness and into light, from the darkness of polytheism and idol worship to the light of monotheism and the worship of Allah, exalted, the One. To bring mankind out of the darkness of oppression and tyranny, into the light of justice and excellence. To bring mankind out of the darkness of ignorance and straying, into the light of knowledge and walking its path, hence, the advancement and progress of the human race in all aspects of life. The proof of that, the first thing that Allah, glorified and exalted, revealed to His final prophet and messenger Muhammad, salutations and peace of Allah be upon him, from the verses of the wise reminder, the noble Qur'an, was the saying of Allah. Blessed and exalted. Read. In the name of your Lord, who has created. Qur'an, Al-Alaq, 1. It was a compulsory order to the Prophet Muhammad, salutations and peace of Allah be upon him, as well as his nation after him. As is well known, reading is the way to acquire knowledge and understanding in every field. That is why the first thing the noble Qur'an called to and encouraged strongly was knowledge in a general sense, including all types and in every field. Also, the noble Qur'an didn't just call to and strongly encourage knowledge only, rather it called to increasing and expanding knowledge, as He exalted stated. And say, my Lord, increase me in knowledge. Qur'an. Taha, 114. It too was a compulsory order to the Prophet Muhammad, salutations and peace of Allah be upon him, as well as his nation after him, imploring Allah, glorified, and exalted, to increase and expand one's knowledge in a general sense, not settling for what one has learned already, for one's entire life. This is confirmed by what was strongly encouraged in the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, salutations and peace of Allah be upon him. Whoever treads a path seeking knowledge, Allah will make the path to paradise easy for him. Muslim, 2699. Meaning, acquiring knowledge, in a general sense, is from the causes of attaining the pleasure of Allah, glorified and exalted, on the condition that one has a sincere and righteous intention. Hence succeeding at reaching the home of delights, paradise. Important question, why does Islam call to knowledge and strongly encourage it, and even commands it? The answer to that question is outlined in the following. 1. A saying of Allah. And those who have been given knowledge see that what is revealed to you from your Lord is the truth, and guides to the path of the exalted in might, the owner of all praise. Qur'an, Saba, 6. Which means that if mankind acted according to what Islam called for and strongly encouraged, from gaining knowledge and becoming from the people of knowledge truthful and acting upon it, and made the best use of his intelligence, while depriving himself of his whims, desires and compulsive inclinations, anticipating reward from Allah exalted, with a sincere intention toward him, glorified and exalted, he would then see the evidences and proofs that testify to the truth of the noble Qur'an's message, and that it is the true book from Allah, exalted, the one which he, glorified and exalted, swore to protect as a guidance for mankind to his straight path. To the saying of Allah, glorified and exalted. It is only those who have knowledge among his slaves that fear Allah. Qur'an, Fatir, 28. Which means, the knowledge, and its fruits, which Islam encourages us to acquire is fear of Allah, glorified, and exalted, and that is through knowledge of Allah's signs, blessings and favors, which are numerable, and recognizing them. So if mankind made the best use of his intelligence granted to him by Allah blessed and exalted, recognizing the signs of Allah, glorified, and exalted, through knowledge, then this will lead him to belief in the unrestrained of the ability of Allah the Creator, glorified, and exalted, the originality of his invention and his precise execution of it, increasing him in his certainty in the existence of Allah the exalted Creator and his oneness. Meaning, God the magnificent Creator of this universe, with all its signs and wonders, can only be one God, specialized and unique in his unrestrained ability, the perfection of his judgment, and the expanse of his knowledge and all that it includes, and so on and so forth from the complete and beautiful attributes that are rightly his, glorified and exalted. Because if there were more than one God the Creator, differences and disparities would emerge, and each would exalt itself over the other, and the heavens and earth would be ruined. Moreover, having knowledge and making the best use of one's intelligence, increases mankind in humility and submission to Allah, glorified, and exalted, and surrendering to and complying with his orders exalted, abiding by his orders and refraining from his prohibitions, hastening to his obedience and avoiding his disobedience, longing for his mercy and fearing his punishment, and hoping to earn his pleasure in paradise, which he, blessed, and exalted, promised his pious, humble and submitting slaves. And indeed many Muslim scholars of the past made numerous shining contributions to the different sciences, as witnessed by specialists in those fields, even up to our present era. Some examples of these scholars and their modern scientific contributions. Dr. Ahmad Hassan Swail, B. February 26, 1946. Professor of Chemistry and Physics at the California Institute of Technology, USA, an Egyptian chemist, who received the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1999. For his research in femtochemistry, wherein he invented a microscope that could photograph laser beams in the amount of time called femtosecond, such that details could be seen during the chemical process. An important point to mention. Just because the Muslims are not directing their energies and capabilities towards acquiring the knowledge that Islam calls to and strongly encourages through the saying of Allah, exalted, read, which was the first order received and to be followed and acted upon by Muhammad, salutations and peace of Allah be upon him, from his Lord, blessed, and exalted, as well as his nation after him. That doesn't mean that Islam and its message are to blame. Rather, the blame is totally upon him whoever was lazy and careless, those specialists in the different scientific fields, in terms of following up with the knowledge that Islam calls to and strongly encourages, and so on and so forth. Islam did not suggest a path towards good and what develops the human race, except that it commands to it and calls to it. And it didn't leave off a path towards evil and what will lead to the decline and regression of the human race and its values, principles and morals, except that it prohibited it and warned against it. How are modern scientific discoveries one of the testaments that Muhammad, salutations and peace of Allah be upon him, was a prophet and messenger? In order to answer this section's questions, we would like to clarify. If we clearly recognize the truth of Muhammad's salutations and peace of Allah be upon him, speech, and the truth of what he informed us regarding Allah, exalted, in the book that invited to him, the noble Qur'an, then this necessitates a belief in his message and affirmation that he was prophet and messenger, salutations and peace of Allah be upon him. Indeed, the Prophet Muhammad was well known for his veracity and trustworthiness since his boyhood, such that he was nicknamed the veracious, trustworthy one. And in spite of the aggression directed at him and his message from the disbelievers of the Quraysh, they all testified to his veracity and trustworthiness. Over 1,400 years ago, the noble Qur'an and the prophetic hadiths spoke of and informed us about the universe as well as all the fields of science, at a time when none had even the slightest knowledge about such matters. Modern technological science has come to discover the extent of the accuracy of this information. So, if the accuracy of what the noble Qur'an informed us of, and what the prophetic hadiths touched upon, from amazing scientific facts not discovered until recently are scientifically proven, then the questions remain. Who is that informed Muhammad, salutations and peace of Allah be upon him, of such facts about the unseen? And who is it that taught him these sciences, all the fields, that no one had the slightest knowledge of, and why? The answer for which there is no substitute. The one who informed Muhammad of such facts about the unseen is the one who possesses knowledge of the unseen, described by his unrestrained ability and perfect knowledge and what it includes. Allah, glorified and exalted, granting him this knowledge, was a support from him to his final prophet Muhammad, salutations and peace of Allah be upon him, to serve as a testament and proof that he was indeed connected to revelation, taught from the Creator of the heavens and the earth, Allah, glorified and exalted. Therefore, in this way, modern scientific discoveries serve as a testament and proof that Muhammad, salutations and peace of Allah be upon him, was a prophet and messenger.